Okay, thank you for joining me this afternoon. Today we will be reviewing how to proof and submit pages in the Memory Book Online program. This webinar will be approximately 30 minutes long, 20 to 30 minutes long. You will be able to review the topics we are covering today in the manual, starting on page 186 in the Creation and Design section. Okay. So right in where I'm at right now is I'm just in the page designer. So we're under create new page designer, and this is one area, and this is the area we're going to focus on reviewing and submitting pages today. There is also another way to submit your pages if you're under plan and page ladder. So next to the page ladder, you're able to back on the wrong tab here. Sign back into my job here. Okay, so I was going to show you here. So you can also, under plan and page ladder is another area where you can come and complete and submit your pages. You can also proof your pages in this area as well. So this is kind of the older way that we used to do things. So when you got near the end, you would hit the complete button. And then once you hit the complete button for a page, then you'd have two other buttons for return and submit. We are going to cover going off how to submit your pages from the page designer using the Preflight menu that is there. Because that Preflight menu is pretty important. It helps you capture, it helps kind of show things that you haven't finished on the page, like empty photo boxes, empty text boxes. And that also helps highlight where those are on a page so you can quickly remove them and be able to complete your page. Because if there's any incomplete elements on a page, empty text box, empty photo box, the program will not let you complete the page until it's taken care of. So I'm going to find my page here where it was working. Here we go. Okay, so here I'm just in the designer. I'm on one of the pages that I'm looking to complete and send it in. So one of the first things I'm going to do is I'm actually going to wheel over and I'm going to bring up the Preflight panel. Now, when you're working in the designer, if you need to bring up the comment or Preflight panel, down in the bottom right corner of the designer, you're going to see a little 2-button toggle here. The bottom button just turns on and off your grid lines. If you can kind of see those turning off and on there on the dark gray page here. So that's just a toggle for that. We are going to be focusing on this top button right here. If I click on this, it's going to bring up the comment section here. So if you've been working through the season and using the comments to kind of keep track, or if people are working together on pages, this is a good way to leave messages on what may be left to do on a page, what needs to be done, just general correspondence with your yearbook advisor. We are going to move over here and click on this little caution triangle here, and this is the Preflight tab, or the Preflight tab. So here on the Preflight panel, so what we use this is really important. This is going to, one, show us if we have anything wrong on a page. So it's going to list out, page 60 has 2 issues, while down below page 61, no issues here for page 61. This is also going to be where you're going to, before you finish things up, the program will want you to run spell check on a page, and it's also going to want you to run a PDF proof on the page before it'll let you submit it. So what we're going to kind of do here just on just these regular pages is just how to use this panel right here. So the first thing when it's talk about, okay, so page 60 has an error here. It's got a text element remains unedited. So unedited text box could mean a couple different things. One, it could just be a text box that was brought over from the text tab. It's just empty. It's just has nothing's been typed on it. It's just maybe it accidentally got onto the page. Now from here, if we click on this issue, it's going to highlight where this is on the page. So I clicked on it here, and up in the top corner, it's actually just kind of pinpointing this little body copy text box that is here. So I'm going to go ahead and hit my delete on my keyboard. You can also hit backspace just to remove it. All right, so I've got that taken care of. Now, even though I took it off the page, it's still showing over here on the Preflight panel. If I go up here and hit the save button, that's when I will see that drop off the page. So the next thing I have here is now I've got an image element remains unedited. While I'm looking around on the page, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 photo boxes that are here. Probably another one if you count the clip art that is there. So when looking at a page like this, you're like, okay, everything's filled in. There's not anything there. Sometimes these photo boxes can get over, something can get put over top of them, and they're behind some of the other images on a page, making it hard to see. So that's why it's really nice that this Preflight panel, when you click on it, click on the issue, it highlights where that is on the page. Now, we can take care of this box a couple different ways. If you're someone that has kind of been in the program and really familiar with it, when you hover over this and click on this, you can say, oh, this box is behind there. So whenever you click on this, not only does it highlight where this is, it also, it selects it to where, I could just hit my delete key and take it right off there, just because I've been, I've worked in this for a while, and I'm very comfortable in knowing that that's how that will handle. So I'm going to undo that. Now, someone that's very kind of new to the program, hasn't worked in it, may often know. Another couple of things, what you can do is after you highlight it, you can kind of see that it's right there. A couple different things that we can do. So to bring this, some people like to bring it and see it so they know exactly what it is and they can delete it. So with it selected, what we could do is if I come up to the top toolbar, we're going to see this little stacked 3 pieces of paper icon here, the arrange drop down. So I could use the arrange, and I could come over here to bring to front. And here we go. So that is that box that was there. So with this selected, I can go ahead and hit delete and take it off. Another thing that we can do is, since we can see that it is there, some people even will select a photo that's on top, go back to arrange, and they may send the photo backwards to where then they see that box. So whichever way you feel comfortable in, finding these, definitely use the Preflight panel to show you where it is on the page. But then as far as what's selected, you can then multiple different ways on how you can get rid of it. Just when it's selected, like this even, just hit delete and you'll take it right off there. And then I'm going to go ahead and save. Now at this point, this page now has no more issues. So when it has no more issues, what we'll have to do is come down and we can actually mark the page as complete. Now, marking a page complete does a couple of things. One, when you mark a page as complete, it locks it down. Thus, it doesn't make it, you're not able to make any edit, make any changes to it while it's in a completed state. However, with the page in a completed state, you are still able to Now, if you find something misspelled on a page, or maybe come last minute, you have to, change out a photo for any kind of reason, you'll need a way to easily get back onto the page. So just a completed page, you're able to come back onto your Preflight panel. If you need to make changes, you can then have a return button. And what return will do is it'll unlock the page and put it back in progress for you, so you can begin working on it. So here we go. We're going to go ahead and mark the page complete. There we have that. So from here, before we can finally submit the page, or page is, so I can come here, page 61, I didn't see any kind of issues there. So I could mark it complete. So another thing, what it'll want you to do, before you fully submit the page or anything, it'll want you to run spell check. Now this spell check is going page spread by page spread. It's not doing a whole run of the full program that is there. So I have a text box here. It has some stuff that is misspelled. So I just have, there is a type in this text box that is misspelled. The spell check tool will find misspelled words. Now, one thing about the spell check tool is it does not check for grammar or correctly spelled words used incorrectly. Kind of there, or see and, S-E-E, and see as in body of water, S-E-A. So we're going to go ahead and hit spell check here. Oh, it saw my word walkthrough over here, and once page I'm going to hit ignore. So then we have the word tool that picked up. So now I want to see either make it tour or that. I'm going to go down here and hit the correct word I want it to be, tool, and then hit change. Misspelled, got it. That needs to be misspelled, so I'm going to hit change. Move this to the side. So we have grammar, it needs to have an A at the end. So I hit change and submitting. Now, once there are no more spelling suggestions, now another time when you're running spell check on where a lot it'll pick up on are people's names. So if it's not too familiar of a name that's in the program's dictionary, it may flag or it may put someone's name in the spell check. As long as that, when you look at that student's name, staff member, faculty, whoever, as long as you look at that person's name and you're like, okay, it is correctly spelled, you could hit ignore, kind of like I did on the one, and to kind of proceed in that. But once you get through all the spell check here, then the program, I'm going to hit save here. Okay, so once we have the spell check run, it'll want you to run proof. So we're going to do a PDF proof. And then once we have our proof here and we've taken a look at it, we can then close out of our proof. And when we're back on our program, we can go down here and we can, for page 60, I can hit submit. And that'll lock that page down. And then I can come over, went too far over. Then I can come to page 61. 61 now, it wants me, because I moved on, it wants me to run spell check again. I'm going to hit ignore. Oh, I did not save my changes. So I'm going to hit tool, change. Okay. There we go. Okay. That put that right back the way it was. So definitely kind of watch that. And I'm wondering if it's because it's some stuff that I brought in from outside earlier. And Okay, now I've got it saved, so we're in good shape there. So generally on going through here, it's kind of you'll first take care of any issues that you'll see in here. Again, when you click on an issue in this spot, it's going to highlight where that is on a page. Then you can either, address it, swap out a photo, put in a photo if it's just an empty box that's there, or remove it completely. Once all these issues are taken care of, you'll then be able to hit complete for the page. And then once the page is completed, you'll want you to run spell check. It'll want you to proof the page. And then once you have these two done, then you'll be able to hit submit to submit the page in for printing. I do see some questions popping up in the chat. If it's not really kind of going in with what we're kind of going in with today, I'm going to hold off on some of these till the end, kind of like the moving pages and about the other recordings. So I'm going to wait a little bit later to address those. The next thing I'm going to kind of move on is things that we're looking for when your book comes in. As far as if I'm going to kind of what we see with general class pages and that when we're working on them. So when we're looking at your book, one thing that we kind of suggest is really kind of review your portrait pages for any duplicate images and names. We're also looking, because we only put a book on hold now if a name is missing or if a picture is missing. Generally, a book will go on hold. If we have 5 students here, only 4 names, we're going to put that book on hold so that way we can get a name onto that photo, because it's kind of every student has a name there. Now, other things that we're kind of looking for is how well we're able to see those names. So I have a few examples across the next pages on kind of different backgrounds and text color choices that we'll be kind of going over. So on a class page like this, one thing that we look for is dark type on dark backgrounds. Kind of like what we see right here. This page has the names in black on a very dark blue background. Now that same background is applied to the right-hand page here. The thing is, I'm going to go up to the edit menu and I'm going to go to change background. Now on this right page, so if I put it all the way back, it starts just like this side over here. Now one way that we can really kind of get those names to show is I put a tint on the background. So again, I was under the edit and hit change background to get this little menu here. And then down, at the top of the menu, you either go left page or right page. So we're going to go right page, and for here, I'm just going to go back to 40%. And now with the background kind of lightened or tinted there, the names now more easily pop out so you can read them. Another way that this could be handled is before you flow, you're able to adjust the names on, adjust the names on the flow element. So real quick, I'm going to actually see here, try to see who I have flowed to that page. Okay, so before flowing, when you're just on a regular flow page and you have the flow element that is here, so it's usually your text just starts off, normal black type there. So one thing you do to make that contrast so you can really get the names to show up is before you flow in, just if you've got the elements selected, go through the color palette here. White will definitely show up on a dark background. but just any kind of other light contrasting color. So, I mean, it could be a light yellow or anything that's really going to pop out against that dark color. And the same goes in reverse. So if you've got, you know, a light colored background, you're going to want the names to be kind of in a darker color for the font. That way they pop out there on the page. So here I've got the element change. I've got the names to white now. I can hit flow my group back in. And there we have it. So if you want to, you know, stay with the darker backgrounds, they're there. Just make sure to adjust your flow element to, you know, have a contrasting color for the text. Next example here is kind of what happens if you're reviewing your pages and one or two things. Let's either say that you have run into a duplicate image or a student that does not need to be in the class. The fix for this is the same for either. So while we're looking at this page right here, let's just say that this little guy right here on the top, into the top row, let's say that he was not supposed to be in this class at all. Maybe he's supposed to be in another class. So what we would first do here is if you ever notice, okay, I've got a student in this flow that doesn't need to be here. The first thing that you would do is actually go back under your flow tab. You're going to find that category that flowed to the page, and you're going to hit reset to pull them right out. And to make the change to the photo to tell it the program not to use it, I'm going to go under create, and I'm going to go to image library. I'm going to go under my portraits. I'm going to go to that folder. I think it was this guy right here. So one thing I'm going to do with his photo, I'm not going to delete it, but there's a way to mark a photo, and this is going to work with, you know, if you have retakes or if you have duplicate images or students that don't belong, you know, if they're not supposed to be in the yearbook at all, you're going to double click on their photo where it pulls up in the preview. And we're going to head to the details tab. And the second spot down where it has use portrait, we're going to change that to don't use portrait and then apply changes. Now this is the exact same method you would use, again, for, you know, students that are not supposed to be in that class, duplicates, somehow the same photo got uploaded twice, or if you're dealing with retakes. You know, if you've got both the original and maybe the makeup photo there in the same folder, you'll need to let the program know not to use one of them. So again, it's just double clicking on the photo. You're going under the details tab and you're just changing the spot where it says use portrait to don't use portrait, and then apply changes. So then from here, when we go back to the page, back on my page, I'm going to go back to the flow tab. I'm going to find my group here that I flowed. I'm going to hit flow. And now it's taken that little guy out. He's not part of the class anymore. Now on this side of things, let's say this is my class and it's, you know, exactly how I kind of wanted it to be, but oh no, you know, maybe for this example, I have all the teachers flow to the first spot in the group, but this teacher is flowing right in the middle of the students. So how would we, you know, upon reviewing, how do we get him to the first spot? Well, again, anytime a flow doesn't go or didn't go the way you wanted, go back over to the flow tab, and we're going to find that group, and we're going to reset. Now for the teacher's image to flow first, we're going to go under the create menu, and we're going to go back to the image library. We're going to go to that class, and we're going to find the teacher's image that's in with the students. We're going to double click on the teacher's image. We're going to go under details again. This time we're going to go down to the third spot here that says type. Now under type, this is a hierarchy in the flow. Let me click the drop down so we can see all the hierarchies here. So how these work is anyone marked with let me start this. By default, all class photos uploaded to the program will start with a hierarchy of student. So this is the normal, this is the default hierarchy that's in the program. Now from here, anyone that is then marked teacher is the top spot in the hierarchy. So anyone marked teacher will flow first on a page. Assistant is second, so then images marked with assistant would then flow behind images that were marked teacher. Student is next, so student's the third, and the last option is other. Now, in this case, I want the teacher to flow to the beginning of the class, so I'm going to mark it as teacher, and then apply changes, and then done. So with that setting, now that setting doesn't make it to where within the class folder the teacher will be the first spot in the folder. While here in the library, they're always going to show in alphabetical order. Where we're going to see the teacher take the first spot is if we go back to our page now that we have the setting changed, we're going to go back to the page. We're going to go back to flow. We're going to go under the class here. Now we can see Mr. Martin has taken the first spot. And I'm going to hit flow to flow him back in. And now we've got our teacher in the first spot. So just with this, if anything, if you notice anything doesn't go right with one of your flow pages, whether you need to take a duplicate out, take a retake out, or rearrange the order if the teacher's in there, always first just reset the flow and then go take care of that in the image library. From here, let's see, what's I have on the next page? Back kind of more or less back to busy backgrounds, but just some other ways what you can do or methods you can do to kind of help get it to where the names show and everything. So on this one, I just had a busy background that was on the page. One thing that I did here with this is I came on, I added a shape to the page. I just added a white shape, moved it in behind the group there. So that made their names kind of pop up a little bit better. So that's using the shapes to kind of fill in. Now another thing I can kind of do with this shape is if I didn't want to block it totally out, I can go to the format and effects here, and I could use the transparency to kind of make it just a little bit see-through if I still wanted to. I wouldn't be able to go too far, and then it kind of starts being hard to see stuff if I come and just make it a little bit. So that's one way. We can add a shape back here behind the flow. Now on this side of things right here, there was a flow here, but then we expanded it for further formatting. So if you need to expand a flow for further formatting, and I'm going to use this group over here as just an example. I go over to the page, I can select the group. And to expand them, you're then going to go up to the flow options drop down up at the top. And you're going to get to a message that says you're going to see expand flow. Expanding flow, it's going to release the individual objects contained in the flow element. And once you expand, you'll not be able to reflow. So basically, it's just letting you know if you expand it, you lose the reset reflow ability. And here I'm just going to go ahead and hit I understand and expand. So now that they're expanded, you're then able to click on these individually and work on these text boxes individually. And then you can do further formatting like I've done here. So on this busy background, did a couple different things with the rows. So instead of a big white box behind everyone, now that this is expanded, I was able to work on the individual boxes. So I gave on this row, I gave their name boxes a fill, and I put a stroke on them. And by that, it's just, I went up, I selected the box, I came up to the color drop down. So my text fill is still black. Then my shape fill is white. So make it yellow, go back to white. Oh, white, here. Text black, shape white. And then there is also shape stroke, which is the black stroke that's around the box. On these down here, I did something a little bit different. I gave the fill color a yellow, and then instead of doing a stroke on the box, I did a stroke on the text, just a black stroke, just to kind of outline the yellow type there. So that's another way to kind of get around busy backgrounds, is kind of working with your fonts that are there. So that's just kind of some things that we wanted to show you going through here as far as, when we're looking for backgrounds, we're looking for, is there enough contrast where we can see the names? So if it looks kind of, if you see dark type on dark backgrounds, it's very likely it could be something that would hold your book up into production. So definitely kind of be on the lookout for that. Also, it's just in general, it's hard to read. It's hard to see. Just dark type, black text on a dark blue background, it's very hard to see. So as long as you're making that type of contrasting color, light type on dark backgrounds, dark type on light backgrounds, that type of situation. Another thing we'll look at here, just kind of when we're reviewing your pages, is bleed pages, or pages that bleed, kind of like this candid page here. Ideally, when you're building a collage page like this, or a bleed page, the only thing that you want in the trim, and by trim we mean this outer bleed area that we have here, and kind of the inside middle of the gutter here. We're looking for photos that you'll want to put out to the edges will be photos that have like empty space, like a lot of sky or side yard. On this inside one here, it's just a part of his shoulder, but the main focus of the photo is right within the margin still. So all their faces are still right here, not at risk of being trimmed. What we may see trimmed on here is where it goes to light color to full color. This is the estimated part that's being trimmed off here, this outer edge. So photos with sky do really well, open area. You're looking to push those photos out to the edge. If you build a page like this that has extra room that you don't mind being trimmed off. Now there is one worrisome photo here on this page, and it's these two kiddos up here. And it's more or less because this student's head is right up in around the bleed. Now, when this book will go to production, page like this, the trim line is right here where you see it go to color in that. So already where he's getting part of his head kind of cut there, trimmed off. But there's an 1/8 inch variance in production when it comes to that. And it's and why we say there's an 1/8 inch variance is it's just due to how that trimmer is running that day. So it's production factors. How well the trimmer is working. Does it have fresh blade on it? who is the the operator, who's the machine operator that day. So just little things that could be varied. So that's why there's up to an 1/8 inch. Well, if that falls the short, if it comes a little more inside, it could be taking off more of this kiddo's head than what you ever, or what we wanted. So definitely watch for photos like this. While I wouldn't use this photo to be at the very top of the page, this photo would have still been great to use around the outside edges because there's a lot of open area here and here, and it also been a good photo to use at the beginning of at the bottom of the page. So before some things, and that's just going over the pages in that and how to submit. Just some other things that can help you when you're reviewing. There's the virtual book that's here in the program. So if I go under Showcase, I can go to Virtual Book here. Actually, cancel, save my changes. There we go. Okay, I'm going to go to Showcase. I'm going to go to Virtual Book. So the virtual book is just a proofing tool here in the program. It does include the bleed. So you'll see basically you're flipping through a digital book that hasn't been trimmed yet. But it's a nice little review tool. You're not really going to looking at things for clarity and quality on this. It's basically reviewing just to make sure, how does the flow of the book look? Are my classes in order? You can usually kind of check it for bid headlines, but this, like I said, it's just more or less, it's just a proof that you're just kind of checking content for. Not so much quality, but how is your content? Do you have enough filled in? Is your page flow doing pretty good? And so on. Another way to review, and if I'm going to go under plan and go back to page ladder here, next to each page in the page ladder, if you want to just do individual proofs on some pages, you can do the little printer icon that is there. Now, if you want to do a full book proof, you can go under the print drop down here and select print all. And when you click print all, this is going to start, the program is going to start generating a full PDF proof of your book. Now this full PDF proof that you download, it's going to have a decent size to it. So if like your principal or some kind of PTO committee says, hey, we need a PDF of the book for review, single pages can probably attach to an email and send out fine. If you do a print all PDF proof, it's going to be too big to email. So that we suggest, sharing it, with Google Drive or Dropbox or, Microsoft OneDrive, or even WeTransfer.com are all good choices to get those that PDF proof out to whoever needs to help review. So just kind of going over some things. So we've gone over, using the Preflight Panel to send in your pages. We've gone through on proofing those pages, just things to watch out for as far as when you're reviewing pages, like contrasting colors, when you're working with pages that have bleed on them, just what's out there. So what are some things that you'll need to know for after submitting pages? So once your pages have been submitted, one of the first things that you're going to do is you're going to email your customer rep to let them know that you have submitted your pages. So when we get the book into production, you will receive a confirmation email of all the specifications of your book. So in that time, if you see a mistake, we ask that you let us know right away. I mean, as soon as possible. Once the book is into production, wondering, just if it's even kind of far enough, there may be a charge to stop the book so we can make the correction. But if it's like, you submit it, let's say you submit the book at night, you then a few hours later catch that mistake, maybe no longer, we're not in-house, maybe we've gone home for the evening, definitely give us a call like the next morning, or just a little bit early in the morning. So the faster that we can kind of stop it going through, we can get that correction done for you, or have you make that correction and then get the book back into the actual production process, and that way there's not any delay. Also, after about 10 days, you will then receive an invoice. So after 10 days, you'll be getting an invoice of your after submission. So that is kind of, I went kind of long there. So that's kind of all I have as far as submitting pages in that. So as far as some of these other questions that we have, I can definitely open up this time to address some of those. So I'm just going to go with some of the first ones I see here. Is there a Zoom recording for getting started and creating cover? We do have, if you want to email or send us an email to our tech address here, and I'll just put that in the chat here. But if you want to email us to our email, just at memorybooktechsupport@Jostens, let us know you'd like that getting started link, and we can definitely send that live webinar to you there. Yeah, we actually have one on creating cover as well, so I'll have to look for that for you. But yeah, just put that in the email. We'll definitely get those links out to you. Next question we have is, what is the best way for reorganizing pages? So if you're coming into review time, you see some stuff that may need to be moving around. If you're logged in as advisor, you'll go under create and then page mover. Now mine has some other things going on with it, but if it's if you're wanting to move stuff around, zoom around here, by default the page mover will move the 2 page spreads together. So if I wanted to move this to be maybe 6 and 7 to be after 8 and 9, I would drag it behind, and it'll ask if I want to insert. I'll say yes, and I'll switch those two. Let's say I then want to maybe I want to take this, bring this page to be beside here. So I could go up to switch to single page. And at this time, I can grab this single page and move it forward if I want to drop it in. But when you drop something in, it just shifts the other stuff back. It doesn't swap it. So for me, I'm now taking this blank page. I'm going to move it back to here. And that way I've got them together right there. So yeah, definitely going through and going under create and page mover will get you to this area where you can move your pages around. Is there a way to delete a page? We do not have a way for the customer to delete a page in here. So empty pages or unused pages can be arranged to the back using page mover. But if you need to remove pages, you'll get in touch with your sales rep, your customer service rep. When pages are being either added or removed from the program, they're added or removed in multiples of 4. So if you're needing to delete just one page, it'll actually have to be 4. So if it is just a case where you have to delete one page, you might rearrange it to another spot in the book and maybe make an autograph page or another candid page out of that. But yeah, just if you need to have them deleted, you might use the page mover to move them all the way to the back, and then just contact your sales rep and they will remove them. The last question I have, or I saw pop up in here, is how do you wrap text around circular shape or object? Unfortunately, we do not have text wrap in our program. So we're kind of a light version of another program. So the Big Book Jostens program does have that, but just with us and our light version of this, we don't have that one in our functions. So sorry about that. Any other questions before we take off here for today? Okay, this is where do we find replay? Now you mean to replay it? For replay it, if you're an advisor, you can set that up. If you go under plan and then go to replay it, you can set up, your site. You would do a checkbox. You'll do a start date and end date. You'll enable the site. When you hit save, it'll then give you your user ID. It'll also give you this direct link in that can be sent out to the different parents that are out there. This is by far the best way to get people to contribute images, is sending them that link out. The one thing, that link can be posted to school's website. You can send it out via an email blast or a text blast. But the one thing that we don't recommend is posting that link on Facebook. So then we go from there. Oh, like this recording. Oh, sorry, I went off on the whole thing and started talking about replay it. Once we have this posted, a link goes out to all that attended. Yeah, once we get it recorded, it'll be posted on YouTube, and we'll send out a link to everyone that signed up. So link will be coming into your email here in a few days. So, sorry, no, good question. Are there more like this on YouTube? Yes. Yeah, so there's not only this, this will become, but yes, currently what is on YouTube, being this is our last session, this is where we do all 4 topics, but currently what you'll find on there, you'll find the Getting Started in Memory Book Online. The one that comes after that is Working with Portraits. Then there's Building Activity Pages, which we did a couple weeks ago, and now we're on our last one. It's the final stages where we'll wrap everything up like it did. So definitely, if you get to our channel, it's just Memory Book Company Technical Support. Jump out here, tab. Okay. So go to my channel. So our channel is Memory Book Company Technical Support. And here's, if you go under, you have a few that have hit up popular, and we can go under videos. This is where we're going to find Building Activity Pages, Working with Portraits, Getting Started, other little videos that are in here. Someone asked me about the cover earlier. Right here, we have our selecting a cover in the cover order center. So definitely check that one out. That's there. But definitely good stuff to do there. So, so we're getting close to kind of 4 o'clock. So I'm going to go ahead and kind of wrap it up for the day. But definitely, once again, Thank you everyone for joining me today. Hopefully our webinar has helped reduce the stress of submitting your yearbook pages. If you have any questions or have a problem arise, please feel free, call us here in technical support or your customer rep for help. Again, we can be reached at 1-877-302-3140, or you can send us an email at memorybooktechsupport@jostens.com. Everybody, we look forward to receiving your books and enjoying to see all your creative ideas. So take care, happy yearbooking, and we will catch you next season. So have a good afternoon, everybody.